Hi Biz 1111 students, this is Jenna, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about using the internet to find secondary sources. Specifically, we're going to look at using Google and Wikipedia. When you first go to Google, you're probably used to typing whatever you want to look for in the search bar. If we are continuing our previous example about chocolate cake, remember that we said we didn't get the right research because we didn't ask our friend for the right recipes. So if you wanted to find a chocolate cake recipe, you would start by typing in chocolate cake to your search bar. As you can see, we get a lot of different chocolate cake recipes. So one thing I wanted to point out is that you should always look at the URL of the website, which is found up here, as well as this little brief description of what's included on the website below. You shouldn't just click on the first thing you see. I might scroll until I find the URL of a website that I might trust the most. For example, if I watch shows on the Food Network a lot, I might want to take a recipe from the Food Network. So I found that this URL is from the Food Network, and I can see a little bit about the recipe here. This information is all different recipes for making chocolate cake, but as you can see, if you want to know about what chocolate cake is in general, we also have the Wikipedia page for chocolate cake. You've probably been told by your professors in the class to never ever use Wikipedia. And it is true that you should never use Wikipedia as a final source listed in your references. However, if you know absolutely nothing about a topic, Wikipedia can be a good starting point to help you learn just a little bit more about it. For example, if I click on the Wikipedia page for chocolate cake, it tells me about the history of chocolate cake and a variety of chocolate cake types that I might not have been aware of. For example, there's Black Forest cake, German chocolate cake, red velvet cake, all of which are considered types of chocolate cake. So this could give me some more ideas of things to look up. I wouldn't necessarily cite this, and I would not cite it in my final reference list, but I can use it to look up more credible references later on. Another source you can use on Wikipedia to help you find more credible references is the references list at the bottom. This is where Wikipedia users got the information on the page. So you can actually click on all these links and follow them around to try to find websites that would be considered more reliable than Wikipedia. So definitely use it for ideas, use it for references. You just don't want to use it as your final resource. And the reason that you don't want to use it as a final resource is because anybody in the world can edit Wikipedia pages. And sometimes they are vandalized or just incorrect. A funny example I can give you is some Wikipedia users recently edited Pedro Pascal's Wikipedia page, that they edited to say that his children or child was Grogu. If you watch The Mandalorian, you'll know Pedro Pascal plays The Mandalorian, and that Grogu is Baby Yoda from that show. So they made this change, but if you go to his Wikipedia page today, you'll see that that has been removed. It no longer says his child is Grogu, and it also received this additional lock. And if you scroll over it, it says that the page is semi-protected, and specifically it's protected because it was recently vandalized. So Wikipedia does its best to stop these things from happening and make sure that its information is accurate. Sometimes if you find a Wikipedia page with a little warning at the top of the page, it will even tell you if it thinks that there's not enough accurate information on the page or if it's not cited correctly. So they really do their best job to try to give you general information about topics. Okay, so we're going to go back to our general Google page and talk about how you can start to put in more precise search terms. So maybe based on learning about the various types of chocolate cake from Wikipedia, I now want to search specifically for German chocolate cakes. If I want to do that, I can go into Settings and go to the Advanced Search settings. In advanced search, you can make sure your page contains an exact word or phrase. So if I want my page to say German chocolate cake only, I can say exact word or phrase here and do a search on that so that it has to have German chocolate cake, and then I start to get German chocolate cake recipes only. Another example, if I go back into advanced search, if I say that I just want chocolate cake, but it could contain the word German, and do that as an advanced search, I might get some different recipes, some that have German chocolate cake and some that are not German chocolate cake, because I said it could contain either of those words. On the first page, it's still showing all German chocolate cakes, but by putting them into the two different boxes in that way, we are making it so it could contain chocolate cake or German chocolate cake. If I put in chocolate cake and I say I don't want something like the word cocoa, maybe I don't have any cocoa powder, I could do an advanced search, and now I start to get recipes that will not contain cocoa powder. Instead, they'll contain things like semi-sweet chocolate. So chocolate squares, if you have those, and maybe do not have the, like I said, cocoa powder in order to give the chocolate cake its flavors. In the advanced settings, not only can you change the keywords that will be searched by Google, you can also change the language of the page, what country it's found in, when it was last updated. If you want to search for a specific time frame, that can be really helpful when you're looking for news articles. If it comes from a specific domain, so maybe if you only want Canadian sites, use .ca, for example. If it has any file type in specific, if you want maybe a PDF or if you want a PowerPoint file, etc., or if it's free to use and share, you can change the usage rights. So there's lots of things you can change in the advanced settings that really help you to define your search more precisely. I'll also link another video after this one that can show you how to make those changes right through the Wikipedia search bar using short forms instead of going into the advanced settings. One more quick tool I want to show you is the tools option that also gives you a way to change your country, the time frame, and a bit about the results without going into the advanced settings. Finally, one more thing I want to mention is about the filter bubble. So if you remember, the filter bubble means that sometimes Google shows you what it thinks you want to see based on your previous search history. So how you can avoid the filter bubble being a problem and only showing you the things that Google has edited through its algorithm for you, you can open up a window in incognito mode. So if I go new incognito mode, then it will not remember your search history. So when you go to Google and start typing things in, it won't remember that I searched chocolate cake before. So it just tries to guess what I'm trying to type when I press chocolate, but it doesn't have my previous search histories, like for German chocolate cake or anything like that. So it won't control what I see as much. So going incognito and using incognito mode is a really good tactic to use when you're starting a new research project. So we've talked a little bit about how Wikipedia can be used to generate ideas. You just want to make sure you don't use it for a final reference, and how you can change some of the settings up in Google to make sure you're seeing the information you want. In the next video, we'll talk about how you can use Google Scholar to get peer-reviewed sources.